Alrighty, morning everyone, and welcome back to another beautiful video on this beautiful channel on another beautiful day. Yeah, I'm back, everybody. Sorry for abandoning you. I was sick again. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, I overworked myself. I know that, and I'm gonna cutting it back. I'm gonna be cutting it back a little bit from now on because the amount of work that I have been doing for the last couple of months really isn't healthy, apparently. So guess what? You can't do 80 hours a day for 7 days a week with both physically and mentally exhausting work. Your body can only take so much of that, apparently. At least my one can. So there's that. Here we are. I'm back though. And I hope that I won't be getting sick anytime soon again. So I want to just, get back into our normal rhythm, hopefully. Let's see how that goes. But today I've got an interesting topic for you, and that's bullshit that you shouldn't believe about gold and silver. And that's a really interesting video that I've recently seen on YouTube somewhere, but I can't remember where. So if you see that, just pretend I gave that person credit, because I forgot, and I can't find it now, and I was sick, so I couldn't really search for it either. Anyways, so yeah, I think that's a really interesting topic. I think that's a very important topic that we actually need to talk about because, well, it's the internet and people like to talk about all kinds of stuff all day, but only half of it, if even that, is actually correct. And especially when it comes to gold and silver, there's quite a bit of stuff that you really shouldn't believe. So, I'd say we'll go ahead and start with the first thing, but first of all, we're going to go ahead and have a look at the stuff that I brought for you today. This is stuff that I all did myself, actually, because I thought, hey, that might be a little bit of a different scenery to look at. And these are actually both bars. This is like a silver bar, it's like a 300-gram silver bar. It's 800 parts silver, that's why it's marked 800. And this is like a little coiny thing that I tried to do that I actually think looks really cool. It looks like the surface of the moon, and that was actually what I was going for, so that's really cool. I've got a little star. This is actually sterling silver. I didn't mark this one, but yeah, it just is, so believe me. I've got a little heart-shaped thing because some people that usually buy those from me, they actually like these for presents and stuff, which I get, and this is also 925, and it is also marked 925. And I've got a little knobby thing here. I really like this one. This has a really nice shine to it, and it has a little pointy thing, which is cool, I guess. That's 800 parts silver, and I've got a fine copper bar here. That's about 600 grams, and this is one of the nicer ones. So yeah, I thought I'd bring that stuff out for you today so you can have a look at that stuff, and maybe if you want to, just go out and make your own stuff. It's really fun. It's not really very hard. You need maybe 500 bucks to start with, and then you've got a great hobby that can maybe even make you some money. So there you go. Really cool stuff. Rightio. Let's start with the first thing that you should definitely not believe if you want to buy gold and silver or interact with gold and silver in any other way, whatever. And the first thing, and just by the way, these aren't like, this isn't worst to least bad or whatever. This is just what came to my mind in no particular direction. So the first thing that came to my mind is that you can't sell anything but fine silver. That is something that a lot of people always love to say to everyone, is that you can't sell anything but fine silver because fine silver doesn't need to be refined anymore. Which is true, right? It's fine silver. That is the kind of silver that they use in industrial purposes. But the thing is, they don't use 4 nines fine silver, they use 3 nines. That's why industrial grade silver bars only have 3 nines on them and not 4. 4 nines silver is very good, right? Don't get me wrong, but most 3 nines fine silver is already almost 4 nines fine silver anyways. So it doesn't really matter. And that's the stuff that is used in electronic devices and all kinds of things like that. So yes, you don't have to recycle it technically, but it still needs to be melted down and processed in every other way. So the only thing that you're saving is taking out the other metals, which is a chemical process and does admittedly take a bit of time, but it's not something that is particularly expensive or very hard to do if you've got the means to do it, of course. If you don't, well then of course it is, because you can't do it. But in general, silver is not pure when it comes out of the ground, and silver is also not pure if you recycle it from electronics and stuff like that, right? I mean, of course it's pure silver, but it's stuck on stuff, and that is basically what not pure silver is. Silver atoms that are stuck to other atoms, right? So pure silver is something that doesn't really exist in silver production. So the only thing, that you would really get that from is from bullion silver. Or, well, someone recently told me bullion silver is not really called bullion. Bullion is just a general term, I think, for stuff that is not put into coins. So whatever, silver coins and bars. And that is not really something that you would usually melt. That is something that is getting resold. That is not something that ends up in a melting pot. Because why would it? Why would you melt, for example, like this 2017 lunar year of the rooster, when you could get like 50% or maybe even 60 or 70% if you just sell it on? Because if you're melting it down, you're getting spot. So that's not happening. So I don't know how people get the idea that if you sell your silver, it's going to get just like put into a melting pot. It won't. It will get sold on, believe me, because no one is that stupid to pay over spot for something like that and then just sell it under spot. Why would you do that? So that is definitely not something that's the case. So don't believe that. Of course, you're going to be paying a mark down. I guess that's what you would call that. Mark up if it's more expensive, mark down if it's... Anyways, you're going to be paid less. So there you go. If you're selling 800 parts or sterling silver as opposed to fine silver. Of course, because it has to be refined, right? It has to be refined if you want to sell it on, right? Because that usually is the stuff that jewelry is made of, or cutlery and stuff like that. And jewelry and cutlery is not really something that you can sell on. So it's going to end up in a melting pot, and that's why people pay below spot for it, which is not a big deal, right? Because guess what? Most constitutional silver in America, or I think even all of it, and this government minted stuff from all over the world is never pure. I've never seen a normal money coin that was actually used for money back in the days that was fine silver. I've never seen it. They were either sterling or whatever, 40, 60, 80% silver, whatever, right? Something like that. They were never pure silver. Because why would they? Pure silver is a terrible metal to make a currency out of because it's soft AF. It's pretty much as soft as pure gold. And, we all know pure gold, very soft metal. Pure silver, also very soft metal. So, not very good. Of course, gold seems to be way more soft because it's also extremely heavy. That makes it seem like it's way softer than silver, but it's only a little bit softer than silver. So, pure silver, terrible metal to make a currency thing out of. That's why it really doesn't matter. If you're buying silver that's not pure, you're paying less. You are paying less than what you're paying for fine silver. Of course, you're also getting less, but you paid less to begin with, so who cares? The only thing that you really have to care about is the spread between what you're paying and what you're getting if you're selling it. And as far as most constitutional silver stuff goes, that spread is not very big. So I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem with stuff that is not fine silver. Especially with the awesome coins that you've got in the US, which I would love to buy, but I can't because they're hecking expensive over here. So yeah, that's the thing, I guess. The next thing that you should, in my opinion, not believe is that collector's value on certain coins is just going to completely disappear if we go into a really bad crisis, like a crisis where people need food and stuff like that, right? Stuff that we already had all over the world in the last couple of decades, not really, but certainly centuries, right? So that is something that is possible to appear again in the future. And, with the way things are going and with the way governments are treating their people, probably sooner rather than later. But anyways, the thing is, people say that the collector's value of coins is going to disappear then because you're going to need to trade them for food and stuff and whatever. Now, of course, my opinion, as most of you probably know, is that it's not a good idea to only rely on gold and silver to cover your everyday needs. Your everyday needs need to be covered by other stuff, preferably by your everyday needs. Because if you have to sell gold and silver, to afford food or water, you don't have a base for negotiations. And everyone that's maybe not a so nice person is just gonna screw you over like you wouldn't believe, and you got no other option than to take the stuff because otherwise you would starve. It's just not very nice, is it? So I would reckon go ahead and take care of your everyday needs first, and then stack silver for that reason. If you want to stack it for that reason, you don't have to, right? But the belief that the collector's value of certain coins is going to completely disappear in a period like that is, in my opinion, just not the case. If you look at the past, never was the case, right? Certain coins, most coins with a very high collector's value, probably not a lot of the modern coins, but certain old coins with a lot of collector's value are referred to more in the category of art. And art is something that never really lost its value. If you take a look at the really bad crises, artworks were one of the first things that people that got into trouble were hiding, because they were still worth something. They were still worth a lot. They were still worth maybe even more than they were usually worth, because you just couldn't get hold of them, right? And there are always people that have enough of something and that want something else. That was the case in the very Stone Age, for God's sake. One tribe were pretty happy with the situation they were in. They had enough food, they had enough water, and then they wanted nice things. And then there was another tribe and they wanted their stuff. Well, they weren't really negotiating. They were kind of just beating each other over the head until one tribe won, and then the other tribe had the nice stuff. But I think you get what I mean, right? As long as there are people that are not just surviving, there's always demand for nice things. And nice things just is something like artwork or very rare coins or other stuff, right? Jewelry or whatever. Therefore has a value. Always has. Always has had a value and always will have a value. At least that's my opinion. So I don't think that you should just blatantly believe that. I don't think so. I don't think that makes a lot of sense, because it wasn't the case in the past. And of course, you can't take everything that happened in the past and just print it on the future. Certainly not. But that is something that is very logical and something that is very likely going to continue to happen in the future. So there's that. Now, as I said, modern collectible coins, probably not so much. It depends on how much demand is there for them, or how much you paid for them over spot, or things like that, right? Of course, if someone already has a lot of silver and maybe also has a lot of food and stuff, and you want to trade with him, and you have a nice coin that he wants, right? Then he's going to give it to you rather than to the person that has a coin that he already has, right? That's another thing that you got to think about. Same thing with jewelry. It might also make sense to just keep some pieces of affordable jewelry around, because in times like these, it's hard to come by that stuff. And people that already have a lot are going to gladly take that. At least that is what always happened in the past. And so, there you go. Don't believe everything just as face value. Start thinking about it and start making your own conclusions, and preferably come to the right ones. Another thing that people love to say is that bullion dealers won't buy you bullion if they don't recognize it. Probably one of the biggest bullshits that I've ever heard about gold and silver, because no bullion dealer ever buys anything without testing it. And no bullion dealer ever says no to a fine silver coin that is actually real after they tested it just because they don't know it. No one does that. No one. And I am somewhat of a bullion dealer now as well, I guess, and I've never done that, and I would never think about doing that. Of course, a bullion dealer might give you like $1 less an ounce for a coin that he doesn't know, as compared to like a Silver Eagle or whatever. Okay, bad example because a Silver Eagle already has a massive markup. But like your normal bullion coins, whatever, Maple Leaf or a Philharmonic or whatever, you get the point. So that might be a thing, but you're probably paying less for that thing to begin with. So who really cares? I really don't understand people sometimes. Just think about that for a little bit. It's really not that hard to get to the conclusion that a bullion dealer probably doesn't care about what's written on the bloody coin. He's going to test it. He's going to determine that it's real silver. If it's real silver, he's going to make you an offer. And that offer is, of course, if it's fine silver, likely going to be over spot. No matter what it is. Of course, he's going to pay you way more for a Silver Eagle at the moment because they are just in very high demand. Which I understand, because it's a very beautiful coin and I would love to have more of them, but I'm not buying them for like $35 an ounce. I'm sorry, but no. So that's the thing, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just kind of, this is not some sort of weird scheme where bullion dealers are just selling you the stuff that they want to get rid of and then not giving you anything back for it. No, people, this is not corporatism. This is just your local bullion dealer that really just wants to do normal business with you. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with buying some coins that are a little bit less well known. Of course, you're going to get a little bit less for that as far as premium goes if you're selling it, but chances are you're going to be paying way less for it if you're buying it. So who cares? The last little bit of bullshitting that usually comes from people that don't understand gold and silver and that are actually not buying gold and silver or stacking gold and silver, which quite frankly I don't get why they even bother with commenting, but I guess there we go, is that these people usually say that gold and silver only are worth the amount of money that they are worth because of whatever reason, right? Because of someone asking that for it or whatever, right? You know these arguments where people just say, yeah, it's only worth it because someone's willing to pay for it. You know what, big brain? That's the case with every single thing on this planet. Nothing is worth more than anyone's willing to pay for it, because the very value of something is defined by what someone's paying for it. Because if no one's paying anything for it, it's not worth anything. So this is like one of the most stupid arguments that people still tend to believe for some reason, that gold and silver are only worth something because whatever banks or whatever are willing to pay something for them. It's complete bullshit. Gold and silver are worth something because, first of all, they are very important metals for, the survival of this world that we live in. But besides that, they are worth something because everyone's willing to pay something for it. So if you, the person that's not believing in gold and silver, now takes a silver spoon and walks down the street with that silver spoon and gives it to their local bullion dealer or silver dealer or whatever you have that buys gold and silver, they're going to give you money for that. And you're going to take that money and you can walk back home with that money. And you can do that, every day, instantly. There's just no way that anyone that said something like that has ever thought about all of this stuff. About the fact that gold and silver is the only stuff that you can do that with. That you can go to your local dealer, get your money, and go back home. There is, as far as I'm concerned, nothing you can do that with. You can't even do that with stocks. Of course, you can sell them online, but if your bank thingamajigger is down, you can't. So there's that. With gold and silver, you can always do that. And everyone's always paying something for it and has been for thousands of years. So I'm sorry, Twitter, but just because you're saying something, it really doesn't mean that it's right. Even though that's very hard for you to understand, I get that. But, just leave people alone. If you don't want to buy gold and silver, that's fine. Who gives a damn? Okay? Just don't do it. Don't take care of your personal needs if you don't want to. Don't try to get ready for the possible case that something goes wrong on the planet. Just ignore all of that. Just live in your dream world and just be very surprised if something ends up happening. That's all I really have to say about that. I don't know when people became such incredible snowflakes, but apparently that's the world we're living in today. So anyways, that's pretty much the video for today. I hope you liked it, and if you didn't, well then I guess you can give it a thumbs down. But if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. I would really like that, because the thumbs down, no one sees them anyways. So that's basically it from me for today. As I said, hope you liked the video. If you want to know anything else about gold and silver, or anything else you want to let me know, write it in the comments below. I'd be very happy to answer them, as always. If you want to, you can also subscribe to the channel. That would make me very happy. Merry Christmas. Have a fantastic week. And until next time.